Sifu took 2 playthroughs for me. One was for, well, revenge. And the other one was for a much more important lesson. And that lesson was a lesson of mercy. I love Sifu, and I mean that in the most earnest sense possible. I love the uncompromising commitment to the Kung Fu aesthetic. I love the cinematic takedowns. I love the free-form way you can engage in combat with multiple enemies. And I love that the environments can lend themselves to expressive and fun gameplay.
Money! 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 Money!
But more than anything else, I think I love what playing Sifu conjures for me as a person, a player, and someone who has spent many, many hours honing one of a few hobbies I've enjoyed for a large portion of my life. Yes, they're video games, but there's something delightful about knowing where you're at with something, skill-wise. There's something compelling in seeing someone partake in something for the first time, to make all the same missteps you did, to understand that you've come a long way since day one, to know that in your pursuit of perfection, you've made thousands of steps, and that you hope one day they will stand where you do now, thousands of steps later, and see what you see. Sifu is, as we know, a revenge story, and it's a story that you feel. You know that 8 years ago, your brother and or part-time Sifu and or friend attacked your dojo in the dead of night. You're killed, but you wake up with the secret of your family in your hand. A magic talisman that can prevent true death. You wake up to see your father's corpse, and from then on, you make a murder list, spending 8 years training to kill those 5. The botanist, the fighter, the artist, the CEO, and the leader. All in the name of justice, right? And you get that revenge, with each target eventually meeting a brutal death. It becomes very apparent. You see their fear, the understanding that this is the end of the road for them. The botanist, the fighter, the artist, the CEO. Culminating in your confrontation with Yang, a man that has imbued you with so much rage that you can only be blinded by the hatred you have in his murder of your father. So you kill him. The leader. And suddenly, at the moment we expect justice to have been served, our anger to subside, we feel disappointment, shame, sadness. Revenge didn't give us what we wanted, or what we thought it would. Revenge didn't solve our problems. I sat there as a player, so ecstatic to murder my way through the game and finally take this bastard to task for what he did to my father. But I was crushed. It wasn't poetic. It didn't feel good. It wasn't someone bad getting their comeuppance. I actually felt like shit getting my revenge. All the excitement I had washed away in a single expression given by our protagonist. I was a murderer. No better than Yang for having killed my father. And the kicker? We're then given the knowledge that Yang stole the magic talisman we possess in order to save his dying wife and child, but was stopped by our father.
You were supposed to guard the talisman, not steal it.
It's the only way to save them, Sifu.
You failed to honor your oath. You are unworthy. Now leave.
Cast out, abandoned in his time of need, we've been chasing what we thought was the cruelest of actors, but things ended up being very, very complicated. This is when we learn about Wu De.
She who has Kung Fu and Wu De makes the other know she can break him. Her hands go out like lightning, and the other doesn't want to fight anymore.
Wu De is martial morality, and it involves valuing human life above all, even in the case of revenge. The game ends and puts us right back to the beginning. With revenge, there is no definitive end. Just a restart with the understanding that maybe we could have done things differently. If we kill again, we restart the cycle. There's a beautiful poetry in breaking that cycle with Sifu. We need them to understand our pain, to meet our hands, to come to the conclusion that we could have killed them had we not placed human lives above all else. So we fight them, we best them, we spare them. In practicing Wu De, we see the difference, the great shame in their eyes, the satisfaction in ours. Instead of the framing of them being helpless and about to die, they are spared. Weak. Fully understanding of the path we have taken. Except Yang. Yang keeps wanting to fight. It's wild. This man does not quit. So we have to prove to him that our hands will go out like lightning. We have to prove to him that we could kill him, that he is outclassed. And in the moment when we finally prepare to deliver that last blow, we don't. Because we value human life more than we value revenge.
This is Wu De.
And we succumb to our injuries. At that point, it's unclear if we die. But if we do, we die knowing we were the best version of ourselves we could have been. Revenge, an unfulfilling conclusion. And Wu De, the understanding that we did everything we could, and we worked hard to do so. As a player, I understood that Sifu takes 2 playthroughs. One to understand that your vengeance will bring you no happiness, and the second to understand that practicing Wu De is often a harder path to take than revenge. But, much like Kung Fu, much like every playthrough of Sifu, it's something you deliberately practice so that you may someday become the best version of yourself. And so, by practicing this mercy, by exercising Wu De, you finally get to the credits. You've broken the cycle. The game is over. And you're treated to a post-credits scene. Somebody gets up with that talisman. And we're unsure if it's us, or if it's Yang. But that doesn't matter. Because what matters is the journey it took to get here. Sifu is the epitome of the journey being the reward. And I thoroughly enjoyed the meta lesson it gave me, in that revenge isn't always the answer. I hope it gave you something too. Thanks for watching. Okay, now let's talk about the millions of people that I fucking destroyed in order to spare these people. I'm gonna go ahead and start off strong. I climb a fucking fence and I murder this guy? I straight up kill him? Like, what the fuck?